we've been spending some time. We just talked to former Senator John Sununu, and now we're going to stay in New England but go to Connecticut. The Republican Party chairman there is Jerry Labriola, and he's consented to give us a little time to talk about the 2012 Senate campaign. That is something that is going to be hard fought for. And Chairman Labriola, thanks for being on the program this morning.
Good morning, Tim. Long time Sirius subscriber. Glad
great.
to be on.
Glad to have you on board with us this morning. We appreciate you
you
being here. Thank you very much. We're looking, and we know that Chris Shays has said that he is into the race, that he is looking, and he has now formed, I guess, a committee, and he's pretty much going to be in the race. And he is. I may be mistaken, but I think he's the last Republican congressman, right? From
he was the last standing New England congressman from 2008. Since then, of course, we picked up some seats, I believe, in New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. Chris is he's got a distinguished career, 20-year congressman, fiscal conservative, strong on national defense. I'm very pleased he's getting in the race. We have our nominee from 2010. Linda McMahon, who has also a distinguished career in the business world, and she's a job creator. She'll be well funded. And all in all, we have some other candidates that have been approaching me that are mulling the race. All in all, I think there's a sense of opportunity. Here in Connecticut, we have kind of the double whammy. We're all suffering the failed economic policies, the borrow and spend policies of the president and his allies in Congress. But in Connecticut, we have a far left legislature and a Democrat governor now who just went on a complete taxing rampage, imposing the largest tax increase in the history of the state of Connecticut in this past.
I'm sorry about that. There was an inadvertent. I don't know where that came from, but
well, they heard when it was just a shock over the tax increase that we
nicely played, very well.
That we all faced. But at the wrong time. As you know, most states found a way to at least nominally cut their budget in these tough times. Mm-hmm. Connecticut increased spending. So that's why we feel we will be very competitive. The Democrats have 3 candidates vying, so they're going to be doing their process, and we'll conclude our process in either May or August in a primary. But I'm confident we'll be united, and I have this really good feeling for the first time in just about a generation we're gonna send a Republican to the U.S. Senate from Connecticut.
And again, we're talking about the seat that Senator Joe Lieberman is leaving behind. He's retiring, and he is an independent, but he caucuses with the Democrats. Now, interesting, he had to fight against Ned Lamont, a challenge from the left. How much of a factor is the challenge from the right this time? Meaning, is there going to be, and I don't necessarily want to use the word hijacking, but is there a potential for a very vocal, very conservative Republican contingent, if you will, taking over this process and pushing it toward the right, which may threaten an election or in favor of Republicans in the general?
I don't see that on the horizon, Tim. The candidates that are emerging now, I think, will appeal to a center-right coalition, which needs to be forged in Connecticut. The politics here in our state is a majority of the folks are governed by a minority. The hard left dominates Connecticut politics and the government unions. The regular folks probably consist of 3/4 of the population. I think they could very easily appeal or very easily be comfortable and attracted to the candidates that I think will emerge on our side.
Lowell Weicker was your last GOP senator, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the last GOP senator, and then he became an independent.
He was about as left of center as you could get in the Republican Party, as I recall.
I think he described himself as a maverick. Let me just call it that. And I'm looking forward now. Not backwards, but we're very encouraged where we stand right here. We're trying to do a rebirth of the Connecticut Republican Party, and a lot of things are falling into place to make that happen. But this cycle in 2012, I think, presents a lot of opportunity, and then we think that'll carry on to 2014, where we think we can recapture the governor's mansion. Jerry
Labriola is with us, chairman of the Connecticut Republican Party. Has Linda McMahon said that she is definitely going to run yet, or has she declared?
She's made it very clear to me in conversations that she's leaning very heavily in that direction. I think she's hiring staff, getting her team in place I think she grew as a candidate in 2010. I think she's looked very hard at what's worked, what hasn't worked, and my sense is, from every indication, she'll be getting in the race and she'll be ready to go probably in a couple of weeks, maybe late September at the latest. And I think Chris Shays has kind of announced a date of early October, so we may have them both, having almost simultaneous announcements. And the process. I'm going to be an honest broker, Tim, and we're going to have a fair and open process, and there'll be a competition for our nomination. We'll try to keep it as clean as we can and be poised and ready to take on the Democrats.
And I know you can't play favorites, and I was just trying to get the general lay of the land, and I think we've been doing a pretty good job of getting that from you, and I appreciate that. I did want to ask one last question. Would President Obama help a Democratic candidate next year in the Senate race or hurt? I guess we're sort of assuming the conditions that are in place now would be about the same a year from now, and if that's the case, he's going to have trouble. But just in general, does he still get a lot of people inspired in Connecticut? Do you think, at least among Democrats?
I think it's a fading inspiration. Again, we're suffering here economically. We're on the brink of going into another recession. I hope things don't get worse, but I don't see any catalyst for things to get better economically going into next year. Wouldn't be surprised if we have a 10 handle on our unemployment rate going into next year. That certainly wouldn't surprise me. And I would say in 2010, when Linda McMahon was defeated, Barack Obama was in Bridgeport two days before the election. I don't see the president in Bridgeport, Connecticut, 2 days before this election. I think he's going to be scrambling and fighting for his life in a lot of the battleground states.
Yeah, he'll be in Pennsylvania or Ohio or someplace like
Virginia
that.
Virginia or somewhere.
Yes, exactly.
I'd be very shocked if he gives us that attention. So, at this point, I'd have to say it would probably be a push. A couple months ago, you would say no, that would be a big help. And I think his influence would probably be a diminishing influence.
Well, we appreciate you spending time with us. And last question, since you're a longtime subscriber,
sure.
Other than POTUS being your number one preset, what other channels do you have on there? I'm just kind of curious.
CNBC. That's how I know what's going on.
Do you work for the management in New York? Is that what it is? I think that's the
you guys are right there. You're probably first and CNBC second.
All right. Well, that's fine.
Love talking to you. Right. And a little bit of Patriot also.
All right. Very good. Jerry, thank you for joining us.
I hope I'll be back.
That is great. Yes, you will, for sure. Jerry Labriola, chairman of the Connecticut Republican Party.